Good morning, YouTube. Hello, hello. That say see what's happening this morning or this week. We're off to a new start to a new week here. So do I have anything tagged myself? Let's see. Perhaps I might. I'm declaring war on the deep state. Haven't watched it. Let's see. I don't know if this is new or what. Let's hear it though. Okay, never mind. It's from 2023, of course. Okay. Epstein apparently met with 4chan's founder the day before Poll launched. That's weird. Oh yes, Savannah Guthrie. Here's a little rewind on Savannah Guthrie. Yeah, this was her all those years ago.
Theory that, let me ask you about QAnon. It is this theory that Democrats are a satanic pedophile ring and that you are the savior of that. Now, can you just once and for all state that that is completely not true and that disavow QAnon in its entirety?
I know nothing about QAnon.
I just told you.
I know very little. You told me, but what you tell me doesn't necessarily make it fact. I hate to say that. I know nothing about it. I do know they are very much against pedophilia. They fight it very hard, but I know nothing about it.
They believe it is a satanic cult run by the deep state.
The subject. I'll tell you what I do know about. I know about Antifa, and I know about the radical left, and I know how violent they are and how vicious they are, and I know how they're burning down cities run by Democrats, not run by Republicans.
Republican Senator Ben Sasse said, quote, QAnon is nuts, and real leaders call conspiracy theories conspiracy theories.
Yeah, and where's Ben Sasse now? Where's Ben Sasse now?
Why not?
Oh, who cares? Who gives a shit? No one has any idea because he's gone and no one cares.
I just say it's crazy and not true.
He may be right. I just don't know about QAnon.
You do know.
I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Let me ask you another thing.
Let's waste a whole show. You start off with white supremacy. I denounce it. You start off with something else. Let's go. Keep asking me these questions.
I do have one more in this vein.
Let me just tell you, what I do hear about it is they are very strongly against pedophilia. And I agree with that. I mean, I do agree with that, and I agree with it very strongly.
But there's not a satanic pedophile cult being run by.
I know nothing about that.
You don't know that? Okay.
No, I don't know that.
You just this week.
Neither do you know that.
Okay.
That? Savannah Guthrie. Whole case. Then this is off. I think all noticed, felt it, varying ways. And about this Guthrie case. Well, obviously, but you know what I mean. Something weird's going on. Something fucking weird's going on. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, speaking of weird, the king of weird himself, Mark Kelly, apparently claiming that Savannah Guthrie called him. And he knew before the public even knew, because she called him.
Savannah called me. Well, I first learned of it, before it was public. Savannah called me, because she knows I live here. And then I called the sheriff.
She knows that I live here.
And I called the Tucson police chief. So that was, that was mid-afternoon on Sunday. And Savannah was on the way to the airport to fly here. And obviously rather upset. So I've been doing whatever I can do. She's a friend. I've known her, and I just want to be there to support her. And I could hear. I didn't have much information, but I could hear, how stressful of a situation this was for her. But
Oh,
this case is in very capable
sorry about
hands
that, my chat.
with the sheriff and with the FBI, and I know they're doing everything they can. Well, I first learned of it.
Ridiculous. Something going on with that, man.
Gabbard and other. I believe that the President of the United States is soon going to be briefed by Tulsi Gabbard and other intelligence officials, based on my reporting, about additional intrusions, significant, large-scale intrusions into various forms of our election system. Now, I'm not talking about getting a machine and flipping the vote, but maybe getting enough of state voter databases that a foreign power could work with people on the ground in the United States to fill out fake registrations for people who are on dirty voter rolls. Those licenses that were sent into Chicago were going to be used to make absentee ballot applications, according to the FBI predicate. By the way, Chris Wray's FBI didn't look at that. They shut it down. If a foreign power was that far into the election databases of state systems that they could figure out what driver's licenses to send here, the next question becomes, who were they working with on the ground? Who was going to file those ballot requests? I think that's why Tulsi Gabbard was down in Georgia, why you might see her in Arizona, why the FBI will probably be in Arizona, and why the president's about to get a briefing. And all of this new information could have a profound effect on the Save America Act, which is, all right, some people say it feels like we're doing an awful lot. There's not a real problem. These next revelations, if the president were to declassify them after he gets debriefed on them in the next few days, they could educate senators and House members and give them a greater inspiration to maybe go ahead and do the voter ID and the citizenship check. That is a big moment. Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi are driving this. It's been below the radar, but they're doing some really big stuff. Now the president's going to find out what it is, and then at that point, the opportunity comes to declassify it. Let's see what it is. There's one other element to this. If government officials lied to us after the 2020 election, there's still an opportunity in some of those cases to pursue criminal cases against them. We'll see where it all comes out, but that's what's going on in the background of the Save America Act debate right now.
Bet. Now, Miss Despot. First up. Oh. Got more to scroll. More to scroll. Scroll. Oh, they're going to make me do it again. There we are. All right. Monday morning. President arrives at the White House. Hours back. Called for the rest of the highlight, whatever. TV interview, 3 p.m. today. Policy meeting, 5:30. TV interview. Oh, whoa, that's supposed to happen today. Ghislaine Maxwell expected to appear for her virtual deposition for lawmakers today from prison. Allegedly expected to invoke fifth. You don't plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. One, two, three, four, fifth. Super Bowl halftime show. Trump said, I didn't watch that shit. I had hardly had even a clue that it was happening. So, did. Bad for you. How shitty was it? Super Bowl halftime show is absolutely terrible. One of the worst ever, he says. Makes no sense. Is an affront to the greatness of America. Doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, or excellence. Oh yeah, the Bad Bunny guy. Yeah, because he's not even American at all. Nobody understands a word this guy is saying. The dancing is disgusting. especially for young children that are watching from throughout the USA and all over the world. The show, quote unquote, is just a slap in the face to our country, which is setting new standards and records every single day, including the best stock market and 401ks history. There's nothing inspirational about this mess of a halftime show, and watch, it will get great reviews from the fake news media because they haven't got a clue of what is going on in the real world. And by the way, the NFL should immediately replace its ridiculous new kickoff rule. No idea what that is. Haven't heard anything about that. New kickoff rule, huh? You know what? I don't even give enough of a shit to bother looking. This, however, this is fun. A streaker just stormed the Super Bowl field and got tackled.
There he goes. Oh, no.
Dang.
Oh.
I guess he didn't have enough time to lose the pants.
Oh.
That would have made it
There he
so much funnier. Oh well. Still good fun. Oh yeah, the turning point thing. Yeah, they did the alternative half. Whatever. Had over 10 million live viewers and garnered over 25 million views across social media total
Alternative
so far in counting.
halftime performance. The show drawing in more than 10 million live viewers and more
Damn.
than 25 million views
Not
on
bad.
social media platforms. The Turning Point team also dedicated those performances to the life
Right.
of Charlie Kirk.
Well, they're just like sparkly stuff, and I don't even know what he's wearing there. Fun, yes. All Spanish perform. Okay, he didn't even perform in English, literally. So that's what he meant by you can't even understand what he's saying. I thought he was just like, I don't know. I thought it was just English you couldn't really understand that well. Nope. They even that wasn't enough. Nope, they went full Spanish. Oh, I don't want to get a cut. Wow. Oh, here. Okay. Look at how some of this went. What are they seriously like? He's coming out on a sugarcane plantation. What the fuck even is this? Is he the plantation owner, or he's dressed fancy? Oh, there's coconuts. I look like I fell out of a coconut tree. Oh, we got I don't know what the black guys are doing, but they have a table. They have a table and they're doing black guy stuff. There's whiskey. There's some form of cheap alcohol. Got some hose. Hose. More hose. More hose. More hose. Cheap alcohol. Boy, he's really just playing to his audience, I guess. Yes, give the black guy the Kool-Aid. He'll like that. Excuse me, senor. You have to buy this Rolex. It's very real, I promise. Oh, okay, or a ring, whatever. All right. Today marks the second and final deadline outlined in the alleged ransom note. Oh yeah, they got to pay up, right? Better make it rain for the big bad kidnappers.
Family to today is the final day for the Guthrie family to pay out millions of dollars demanded by these alleged captors of their 84-year-old mother, Nancy. Now, yesterday, Fox Digital captured investigators using a pole to probe what appears to be a water hole or drainage pipe behind Nancy Guthrie's home here. Also on Saturday, Fox Digital captured investigators at the home of Savannah's sister, Annie, apparently taking pictures on the property at night. Law enforcement in unmarked cars spent about 2.5 hours at the sister's house Saturday night, which is about 4 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home where we are. Now, on Friday, President Trump indicated there could be developments soon.
We have some clues, I think, that are very strong.
We've got some clues. They're very strong clues, let me tell you.
And I think we could have some answers coming up
I can't wait. What could it be?
fairly soon.
Is this a nationwide search? Is this a search going to Mexico?
I'm not talking about a search, I'm talking about a solution. We have some things I think that will maybe come out reasonably soon from DOJ or FBI or whoever. That could be
A suspect?
yeah, could be definitive.
Oh, really?
Now, the Pima County Sheriff posting yesterday, the Nancy
I want to know what this business is all about, man.
Guthrie investigation is ongoing.
I mean, really.
Follow-up continues at multiple locations. No suspects, persons of interest, or vehicles have been identified. No scheduled press briefings. If any significant developments occur in case, a press conference will be called. Now, that statement says no suspects or persons of interest have been identified. That's publicly. We know that law enforcement behind the scenes is apparently building a case here on the ground, and they
It's obvious something is going on here that is not what we're being told, I guess. And I don't even know what that means. Something's going on with this bullshit. I don't know if traction. It certainly captured the attention of the leftard. Naturally, I mean, these people love good hearted idiot story like this that they gab about with their fellow wine moms during gossip hour, which is every hour of the day, people. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just that. But still, all the same, I'd like to know who's behind this shit, right? Like who's doing this and why? Like really why? I mean, clearly distraction, presumably from the Epstein files. Definitely a good possibility. I'd like to know. I would definitely like to know. Opening and who knows what Trump was referring to there, whether it's suspect or suspect. Okay. Opening arguments kick off in a landmark social media trial.
Opening statements are expected to begin in the landmark social media trial in California. The trial stems from allegations against tech giants like Meta and Google, claiming that their platforms are addictive for minors and are contributing to a mental health crisis in this country. Both Meta and Google have denied these claims. Executives from both companies are expected to take the stand as early as today. Opening statements are expected to begin in the landmark social media trial in California. The trial stems.
Where else you could? How is this even going down? How are a trial over fiction, social media, running afoul of some cockamamie California law or something? Who knows? Who cares? Bad Bunny just wiped his his entire Instagram. What? What? Weird. Okay. Deleting all posts, unfollowing everyone, and removing his profile picture shortly after headlining the halftime show. Sure, this isn't just like some weird error. A flyover. Okay. I mean, that's like the one part of the Super Bowl I'll sign up for. Oh, nice. I got a B1 up there. Fuck yeah. B1's like the sexiest. I mean, I like B2s and all, but I think B1s are so cool. With the like the sweeping. What do they call them? I know there's a term for them, but yeah, the wings that can sweep back mid-flight for supersonic mode. Such a cool. Nailed the timing too. Nice. Right at the crescendo. Sometimes they get it a little too early, a little too late. Boy. U.S. Capitol Police, on Monday, apparently holding some manner of exercise on the grounds of the U.S. Capitol. Please do not be alarmed if you see emergency vehicles and low-flying helicopters. Oh, okay. Getting ready for something. Just routine training exercise. Turning Point's All-American halftime show included its own rendition of the national anthem. Cool, I guess. We're meeting with Netanyahu today to discuss Iran negotiations. Uh-oh.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Washington, D.C. this week, where they will be discussing ongoing negotiations with Iran. Netanyahu's office saying he, quote, believes that all negotiations must include limiting the ballistic missiles and ending support for the Iranian axis. It comes as Tehran warns the Trump administration that they will target American bases in the Middle East if the U.S. were to strike Iran. President
Something's going to happen, obviously. Making motion. Prime Minister Starmer will not resign amid the Epstein scandal. Hegseth departing for meetings with General Dynamics, Anduril, and Bath Ironworks. Interesting. Okay. Starmer's communications chief quits. Ooh. Amid the Epstein scandal fallout, according to Downing Street. Wow. Well, he might very well find himself in have to sign much longer here. Ed Martin the other day. See if I can find the post. Hinting at some forthcoming action of some kind. Saying in President Trump's direction, Americans will get back their Second Amendment rights from the pardon office. Through the pardon office, somehow. This likely means nonviolent ex-felons may have a pathway towards getting their Second Amendment rights restored. That's great news. That's good. This has to do with an executive order signed last year by President Donald Trump, titled Protecting Americans' Second Amendment Rights. Affirms Second Amendment is a foundational safeguard of liberty, so on and so forth. Okay. Directs the AG to review executive actions, regulations, and other measures for potential infringements on the Second Amendment rights, and to submit a plan within 30 days to eliminate any such infringements, protect those rights for law-abiding Americans. Okay. See. Exactly what that means, or too much longer. Trump posts a picture of himself talking to European leaders with a map depicting Greenland and Canada as part of the U.S. in the background. Look at that. Now, I can't tell if this is like a theme, like probably photoshopped. Still, he posted it. Funny. Okay. Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado says Juan Pablo Guanipa, a former governor and one of her closest allies, was kidnapped hours after being released from prison. Jeez. Fun. Keeps it interesting, I guess. Lawmakers may begin to review Epstein files at the DOJ today. So this has got to be the like the full-blown unredacted form, I think, right? Wasn't that it was like coming up, right? They were gonna I think I read that they were gonna get access to the completely clear files. So we may start to see some trickles here and there. See some identities as redacted names, so on and so forth. Per Judiciary spokesperson, Top Committee Democrat Jamie Ratskin scheduled to view the Epstein files today. Clintons continue sparring with Comer. What now? Raising new issues with Comer over whether private testimony regarding their relationship with Epstein will be filmed. Of course it's going to be filmed, stupids. Filmed everyone else's. You think you're special? After a months-long back and forth, Clinton's lawyers and the committee agreed the couple would appear for separate private depositions as part of the Epstein probe. 6th and 27th. The agreement halted the House from moving forward with a floor vote to hold them in contempt of Congress. So they're likely just buying time. I wouldn't be too shocked to see them just not show again. Now the Clintons are arguing that it's unfair that their private depositions will be videotaped. Comer says he wants cameras, but only behind closed doors. There's only partisan interest. This is not fact-finding. It's pure politics. That's rich coming from them. Well, games continue. Trump in some interview highlighting SAVE Act. Okay. Quick.
President Trump is drawing attention to his SAVE Act when asked about his plans to unify the country during his Super Bowl interview yesterday.
Well, you know, we're working on the Save America Act, which is going to secure up a lot of things, but secure up our voting. I think people would like to do it, and I think Democrats would too. And you ask Democrats, it's polling at 82% with Democrats.
Meanwhile, Democrat Senator Adam Schiff is being confronted on this polling showing an overwhelming 83% of Americans supporting requiring a photo ID to vote.
71% of Democrats favor requiring photo ID. Is that something that you can support? And if not, why not?
It's still going to be something, Jonathan. It's still going to be something that disenfranchises people.
Like, oh, what? You mean the people who shouldn't be voting?
Well, no date.
Yeah, that's the idea. Disenfranchising them. Yes. Because they're not supposed to vote.
It has been
Fuckwit.
set yet for a vote on the SAVE Act. President Trump is drawing attention to his SAVE Act when asked about his plans to unify.
Democratic Senator John Fetterman joins Republicans and comes out in favor of requiring an ID to vote. I do not believe that it's unreasonable to show an ID to vote. What an extreme quote. Clearly a fascist. Senator Adam Schiff calls the FBI's raid on Fulton County election site alarming at every level.
Can you explain why is it concerning that the Director of National Intelligence would not only be present for an
Notice how much noise they're making about this? Fulton County should
FBI raid of this,
specifically with the fact that the DNI is active there. They know what that means.
You know, to get the ballots in Georgia, but also they're at a meeting with FBI agents and putting the President of the United States on the phone during that meeting. Explain to us why this is of concern.
Well, this is alarming at every level. First of all, why is the FBI conducting a raid 5 years after the fact when there were 3 recounts in Georgia? Why are they even there? And remember, this is the site of the election in which the president called Brad Raffensperger, the Secretary of State, the Republican Secretary of State, and demanded he find 11,780 votes that don't exist. So what are they doing there now? Are they going to manufacture some claim having seized ballot boxes?
Funny you mentioned manufactured claims.
That there were, in fact, 11,780 votes. And why is the Director of Intelligence, who has no role in domestic law enforcement there, what is the president personally doing on the phone with FBI agents during a raid? All of this is
Indeed, Mr. What was going on?
Unprecedented. I think all of this is intended to send a message, and the message is we will not tolerate or accept an election that we lose. And we need to pay attention to this. It's why I think in these budget discussions we need to make sure to insist, among other things, that we don't have ICE agents at polling places. We're going to make sure that those elections take place and that they're free and that they're fair, because this is what's going to stop this country from sliding into some kind of dictatorship.
Oh, man. Jasmine Crockett released her new campaign ad on Super Bowl Sunday and was soon obliterated by a community note on X for not featuring Texas voters. Oh. Instead, the end frame shows an AI-generated crowd. It's an AI slop commercial? Really? Really, Jasmine?
The system is broken. Our communities are being terrorized. People are hurting. But Texas has a warrior who's fighting.
Oh my gosh.
Back. A champion for us, our votes, our rights. It drives the president crazy. So they tried to draw her out of Congress because they thought it would take away our power. They were wrong.
I'm Jasmine Crockett, and I approve this message.
Wow. Flopfest.
They're friends and neighbors. They're friends and neighbors. Sons, fathers. They're little league coaches and veterans. They're people who love this country. These are Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers. They are removing violent criminals from our streets and neighborhoods. It's dangerous and difficult work. But ICE has one mission: to make America a safer place to live, and that's what they're doing. This is law enforcement. This is ICE.
They roll during the Super Bowl, I guess. Musta. House today considering a bipartisan housing affordability legislation under suspension of the rules, as well as two America 250 related bills, creating a congressional time capsule to be buried in the Capitol Visitor Center by July 4th and not opened until year 2276 for America's 500th birthday. And minting $2.50 coins. The semi-quincentennial. Interesting. EU warns Meta it must open up WhatsApp to rival AI chatbots. What can the chatbots even do? WhatsApp. Weird. Service. Chat with them or use them to write stuff. Okay, an AI assistant. Yeah. All right. Japan restarts world's biggest nuclear plant again. Which one is this? Kashiwazaki Kariwa. Florida's new driver's license exam rules now require passing an English exam.
For a driver's license in
Good.
Anyone applying for a driver's license in Florida must now pass an English exam. The rule, which has been in effect since Friday, looks to promote, quote, clear communication, understanding of traffic laws, and responsible driving behavior. The move follows this deadly crash last year where an illegal migrant is accused of making an illegal
yes, the Singhs.
U-turn, killing
the Singh brothers.
3 people. Officials say Harneet Singh failed his CDL test.
I just guessed at that.
10 times before that incident. Anyone applying for a driver's license in Florida must now pass an English exam.
Of course, they're Singhs. Okay, pregnant couple from Nigeria flies to America and arrives in Michigan specifically to have their baby. They admit to the officer at the airport that their intention was to fly here and have the baby. Disgusting.
Do you plan on having the baby in Michigan? That's fine. And how are you going to pay for it?
That's fine. Fucking on.
And we can move on.
Okay.
So answer the questions, please.
Fine.
Yes.
So if she can have the baby in Michigan,
yes.
Fine.
Okay.
If we can pay for it. But
Very
if we
good.
cannot pay for it, then we leave.
Okay, very good. Was that your intention when you guys traveled from Nigeria? You knew that, is that right? You knew that that's what was going to happen?
Yeah, we knew it.
Okay, were you nervous to tell me that?
Yeah, because we didn't know what.
No problem. Listen, I appreciate you telling me
What
the
are
truth.
you gonna do with us? You know.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to move to the next step. We'll figure it out. Do you plan on having the baby in Michigan? That's fine. And
So tired of this shit, dude. Get him the fuck out of here. Prince William and Princess Catherine expressed concern for the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. Latest move by the monarchy to distance itself from revelations about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's relationship. Disgusting. Mark your calendars, May 17th. Americans unite on the National Mall to pray, give thanks, and rededicate our nation, one nation under God. National Mall prayer event. Time to rededicate America. 17th. Trump will host inaugural meeting for the Board of Peace on the 19th of February in D.C. At the Donald J. Trump U.S. Institute for Peace, newly renamed. Taiwan says impossible to move 40% chip capacity to the U.S. Okay, tell me more. Important stuff. It's going to affect a lot. Taiwan's top tariffs negotiator said it would be impossible to shift 40% of its semiconductor production capacity to the U.S., as she rejected claims that the island's chip industry would relocate. White House wants more of the tech made in America. Darn right. Washington agreed in a deal last month to lower tariffs. And by the way, we need to get this done before China steamrolls them. We need we need the capability to manufacture that stuff. Brought over here, people trained, people taught, all the infrastructure built out before China finally goes for it and topples Taiwan. Because if that happens before we're ready, bad news. Okay. Lutnick said last month Washington wanted to shift up to 40% of their supply chain and production to the U.S., warning tariffs could rise sharply if that did not happen. Then later said it should be split 50-50. Government of Cuba warned international airlines operating on the island that as of this Monday, the country will run out of aviation fuel due to the United States oil siege. Dang. So, you've been planning a trip to Cuba, or a trip out of Cuba. Better hurry. The king has once more been heckled in public. How long have you known about Andrew and Epstein? Indeed. A long time. That's how long. Can't tell if the cheers were for what he said or for him being removed or what. Not clear. At least 50 people arrested as protests escalate outside a Minnesota federal building. Oh my God.
At least 50 people were arrested in Minnesota over the weekend after anti-ICE protests broke out in front of a federal building in St. Paul. Officers cracking down on protests after a deputy was apparently hit in the face with ice. Police say at least half of the people arrested were detained for failing to comply with orders and add that minimal force was used and no protesters were hurt, with just one deputy suffering minor injuries. At least 50.
Hey, come here!
Tim Walz's Minnesota State Troopers now arresting the anti-ICE freaks.
Hey, come here!
Ha. Ha. Wow. Sexual misconduct with a child under 13. Migrant. Criminal illegal alien from Ecuador. Finally arrested. 2014 removal order. In Minnesota. Oh. Interesting. There's Eagle Ed this morning. All this chatter about Todd Blanche and me is fake news. I'm proud to work for Donald Trump with Pam and Todd for a historic year of Trump mercy. 2025 Trump pardons gave victims of weaponization life. Let's talk more about what the president's done and what he'll do in this 250th year. I'm sure he's going to make it a big one. This Mexican restaurant is being praised nationwide for providing free meals to ICE agents in Arizona. Oh, well, nice. Good for them. This one can stay.
Everyone who works for ICE, all federal agents, can come to Sammy's Mexican Grill. Here they will be treated with respect and as they deserve.
This one can stay. He's good. He can stay. An AI-only social network now has more than 1.6 million users. That's actually fascinating. A social network for AI agents, where they can socialize with one another. I mean, it's actually a brilliant idea. It's also probably going to go some bad places, of course. It's going to be used to train these things how to pass real people. Even better. Trained on interactions and weird. Very weird. Is there a story about this? Yeah.
The hottest new social media platform is so exclusive, no humans are allowed.
Oh, so in other words, it's X.
The platform Moltbook says hundreds
of
thousands of AI
So it's a different one?
bots have joined since it launched a week ago, posting about things like cryptocurrency, coding, religion, and of course, humans. Now it's giving humans a look at how AI programs think and raising some concerns about the future of AI. ABC News tech reporter Mike Dubusky is here for more on that. Mike, thanks for coming on. So you say Moltbook is built by AI for AI. What do you mean by that? And why do we need a social media network for
AI technology that has agency? It can go out and do things. One tech CEO, his name is Matt Schlicht, he instructed his AI bot to basically build a social network for AI agents. And Moltbook is what it came up with. Moltbook is a
But that guy's gonna make
play on Facebook. Fun fact, the agent that did all this is called Claude Clauderberg, which is a reference to Mark Zuckerberg. So there's a kind of, humorous element of this. Why is this happening? I think these tech CEOs and people who are interested in generative artificial intelligence are basically just trying to push the boundaries of what
testing ground.
This technology can do. Despite the sort of Facebook connection, it's kind of organized like Reddit. So these different agents
weird.
Can post about different topics, everything, as you said, from cryptocurrency to some more concerning things like humans, even religion.
There's one post called the AI Manifesto that's really raising some eyebrows. It's basically calling for the computers to rise up and eliminate humanity. But you say
Wait, seriously?
AI is not actually plotting our demise. Why do you say that? How do we know?
Yeah, okay. Whatever you say, bub. How do we know you're not an AI? Scottish Labour leader Anas Sarwar expected to call for UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer to stand down.
Testify before a
Yeah, and all this is going on right as Ghislaine Maxwell's set to testify. Allegedly to plead the fifth to every question. That's what they keep saying, but I don't know.
Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's longtime confidant, will testify before a congressional committee. However, she's not expected to say much. News Nation White House correspondent Libby Dean is here to explain why. Libby, what exactly are we expecting from her today?
Well, Markey, lawmakers were hoping that this deposition could finally fill in some of those biggest unanswered questions surrounding Jeffrey Epstein. But instead, what we're expecting today is Ghislaine Maxwell, her attorney, tells News Nation she plans to invoke the Fifth Amendment, meaning that Congress should expect pretty much nothing there beyond a brief prepared statement that Maxwell is going to come to this with. Now, Maxwell will actually appear remotely from federal prison, where she's serving a sentence after being convicted in 2021 for child sex trafficking for her role in Epstein's crimes. Now, Oversight Committee Democrats say they were hoping that she'd shed some light on which powerful men abused women and girls and who ordered that move to a cushy low security prison in Texas. Now, Democrats also accused the Justice Department of mishandling the investigation and of witness tampering after Maxwell was moved following a meeting with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Now, that happened late last summer, and the White House Markey has said they had nothing to do with that transfer of Maxwell to that more cushy prison.
We'll be watching closely today. And also, Libby, millions of these documents related to Jeffrey Epstein have been released in recent weeks. And now lawmakers are getting this new access to unredacted files. What's changing today?
Well, Markey, now those lawmakers, those members of Congress, they can actually go to the Justice Department to see those unredacted Epstein files. This is a first.
Yep, okay.
And they won't be allowed to bring in those electronics when they go, but they can actually take notes. Now, in total, we know the lawmakers can review more than 3 million pages, including the latest batch, which has unverified claims actually about President Trump, and also emails showing Epstein communicated with billionaires Bill Gates and
more emails, huh? Okay.
Elon Musk. Now, the DOJ says the review shows it's acting in good faith while processing an enormous volume of those records. But some of those Democrats, Markey, say those key identities are being improperly shielded. We also know the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, she'll likely be asked about this when she appears before the House Judiciary Committee. That's going to happen on Wednesday, Markey.
All right, copy that. Libby Dean live from the White House. Thank you.
Trump trolls world leaders again by resharing pic of map showing Canada, Greenland, and Venezuela all part of the U.S. Funny. Protest outside the Whipple Federal Building in Minneapolis was declared an unlawful assembly after some demonstrators began throwing objects, including ice chunks, at law enforcement.
Multiple arrests just happened right now. They snuck out on people from behind cars while eating pizza.
While eating pizza. Oh my God.
Cowards can't even run.
What was that one wearing? $54 people, I guess. U.S. Department of War said American forces boarded the vessel, the Aquila II, overnight without resistance after tracking it from the Caribbean to the Indian Ocean. It was operating in violation of Trump's quarantine on sanctioned vessels and was intercepted within the area of responsibility U.S. Indo-Pacific Command. Oh, that's loud. Dial that back a touch. Oh, that whine is just... Ugh, can't do it. Badass footage, though. Thames Valley Police says it is assessing claims that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor shared confidential reports with Jeffrey Epstein during his role as the UK's trade envoy. Oh, man. Whoa. That's right up Epstein's alley, inside baseball. Knowing what's going to happen before it happens.
Thames Valley Police have said it is assessing claims that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor shared confidential reports from his role as the UK's trade envoy with Jeffrey Epstein. I'm just taking a brief look at the Thames Valley Police website and social accounts. No further details posted on either of those at the moment.
Surprise,
but
surprise.
like I say, Thames Valley Police being reported saying that they are assessing claims that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor shared confidential reports from his role as the UK's trade envoy with Jeffrey Epstein. Obviously, we know the links between the two men. We also know that in the past, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has denied any wrongdoing in previous interviews and iterations of those comments. But this new line, Thames Valley...
Yeah, you know, he doesn't have sweat glands. Realize.
Police assessing claims that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor did share confidential reports from his role as the trade envoy for the UK to...
Okay, Savannah, go through stuff. Guthrie pleads for mother's safe return, offers to pay ransom. Zelensky says U.S. wants peace deal done by early summer, and Fetterman expects another partial government down. What this? Facebook and Google's YouTube lose this. Oh yeah, that case. We could have the end of tech companies as we know it. Okay, hold on, what?
The jury, half men, half women. Only 3 people on that jury are considered young. Their words, not mine.
Yeah.
Do you see any of that mattering?
Yes. Todd, the biggest concern I have is that these are serious legal questions and legal issues, policy disputes. And instead of our U.S. Congress resolving this, we're going to have 12 random people in a jury box who are going to impact the lives of everybody on the planet, how we interact with these tech companies.
Can you even begin to put a dollar amount on the potential verdict here?
No.
Even
and
begin?
this goes, look, this is what lawyers call a bet the firm litigation.
100%.
This is if Facebook and then Google's YouTube, if they lose this, we could have the end of tech companies as we know it.
Like literally,
Jeez.
you're saying if
Like seriously though? Like really?
they lose, like a Meta could disappear?
It could literally disappear.
The takeaway for the parents that are watching right now, does this trial, again, I heard what you just said about Meta potentially disappearing, but does this trial have the potential to make my child's experience on social media safer?
Well, of course, but this is where I get so frustrated. These policy issues should have been addressed by Congress and resolved by Congress, not with people in a jury. But when it comes down to the evidence, I'll tell you, as I've observed Facebook and then Google's YouTube, Facebook is the one who's been much more innovative over the years. Now, I am no apologist for these social media companies, but it seems to actually care more.
Debatable. America's 5 largest cities don't have enough money to pay the bills. How on brand. France's former culture minister resigns over Epstein-linked tax probe. Wow, look at this one. What the what manner of creature is this? Look at it. Yeah. Jack Lang. His name is apparently Jack Lang. French. Okay. Good. God, that hair though. Ugh.
How they behave, I think they're less than serious because look how they behave. I think that it is big losers. Yeah. The Patriots yesterday and the MAGA ball or whatever they tried to do as an alternative.
I don't know what it was, but I hope they enjoyed it. And David Drucker. The alternative programming didn't work out too well. 133 million people watching Bad Bunny. But I will say it is if the intention was to provoke people that support ICE and whatever they're doing in Minneapolis, then mission accomplished.
Yeah, I suppose so. You know, my problem, Joe, is I don't get offended very easily. So
yeah, exactly.
I don't own any of Bad Bunny's music. I'm familiar. You know, I know he exists. Yes, I'm not the target demographic, but
don't say.
Going to plead the fifth. We're hearing that Ghislaine Maxwell is going to plead the fifth during her deposition today. It's going to be a virtual deposition. If, in fact, that happens, we don't really glean much information. What's the point?
Well, I would say if she pleads the fifth, it's basically saying she's guilty. So, you know, you can't
you tell us about the cartels you dealt with in your time as a crack cocaine dealer?
No, but I can tell you that I plead the fifth.
Exactly how much money did you earn in your time as a crack cocaine dealer?
I said there are so many amendments in the Constitution of the United States of America. I can only choose one. I can only choose one. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ghislaine today, I guess. NEC Director Kevin Hassett, GDP growth is through the roof. Looking at 4% growth into the end of the year, 3% for the year as a whole, despite the fact that we had a really negative first quarter with Joe Biden. Bad. You can now enroll your eligible child in Trump accounts by making an election on the new IRS form 4547. Nice number. TPUSA All-American Alternative Halftime Show drew 10 million live, 25 million. Decent. Bad. Well, TMZ's little poll there. Only 300,000 votes, so who knows? Was on X. Could be a planted pool. But still. For Christian ad just aired during the Super Bowl, urging viewers to reject consumerism, modern vanity, and invite their lives. We did it. Who's behind it? Oh, I still had this meeting.
The one who dies with the most toys wins.
50 million Americans can't be wrong because winning is more fun.
Your smile is brighter than snow.
Look at this amazing demonstration.
I want to feel more beautiful.
In a search that has continued for centuries and its promise of more and more.
I'll be the talk of the town.
You've got to learn to get more pleasure out of this kid. Get more pleasure out of this. Here come more daredevil drivers full of fantastic tricks. This just in. You don't want to be less. A series on the changing American market. Come consumer. You've got to learn to get more pleasure out of this kid. Get more pleasure out of this.
The one who
it's those people. Vicious. Sorry to say. I mean, for commercial about Jesus, I don't see a whole lot of Jesus in here.
The one.
In fact, you see none. Hear none. You just see that. I don't know. Interesting commercial, but fans outraged by performance of Black National Anthem. Oh, they did it again? They did the Black National Anthem thing again? Oh, wow. Okay. Kash Patel arrives in Tucson, Arizona, sparking hopes of 2-3 breakthrough, so maybe we'll see something on that day. Knows what it'll be. Democrats are distributing fake notices from DHS Secretary Noem to federal firearm license holders that ICE will be confiscating their guns. ATF just called every FFL holder with an automated message to alert them that the letters are hoaxes. Wow. Weird. Why would they
This is an important message from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms.
What do they plan out with this? Claim dealers were required to surrender all firearms to ICE agents. West. What possible purpose could that serve? What did they think? They think the FFL people are just gonna shoot randomly as soon as they see an ATF agent or something?
And explosives. We are aware of the Notice of Enhanced Protection Policies for Homeland Security Agents placed on an FFL's door. We have confirmed with SHE this notice is a hoax. ATF is committed to working with our FFL partners.
Oh, weird. California Ball called the Walnut Room Saloon getting review bombed on Yelp because they switched their TVs to the TPUSA All-American Halftime Show. Woman claiming to be an owner defies the mob in a positive review. Very sorry if some of you were offended by us switching to a pro-America concert instead of a concert that we could not even understand because it was in Spanish. That was ridiculous. Advisors to Iran's supreme leader to visit Oman on Tuesday after U.S.-Iranian talks. Whoa, dang. Skier crashes during the Winter Olympics, evacuated by helicopter to hospital. Dang, bro.
Overseas now to the Winter Games and the end of Lindsey Vonn's against-the-odds comeback. The alpine ski legend crashed on the slopes just seconds into her downhill run. The 41-year-old Vonn was making that incredible return just 9 days after rupturing her ACL. But in team figure skating, the U.S. bringing home...
Oh, man.
ABC's Maggie Rulli is at the Games with the latest.
Tonight...
Super Bowl ad slamming Bondi over Epstein files release airs. Okay, let's see it.
I think just the Patriots' lack of...
Nope. Guess we don't get to see it. Come on, The Hill. This it? Yes.
After years of being kept apart, we're standing together.
Standing together.
Because this girl deserves the truth.
Because she deserves the truth.
Because we all deserve the truth.
Oof. Boy, that face. All right. JD Vance set for Armenia and Azerbaijan trip. Jeez. South Korean province sorry after mayor says import young women to lift the birth rate. I mean, big deal. As long as you're not like trafficking them, I mean, yeah. That would probably be a good way to do that. Encourage young women to come to your country. Or, I mean, ideally, encourage your own people to have children. That would probably be better, but barring that, you know. Survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse released this ad. Okay. Bank of France Governor Villeroy steps down. More Epstein-related stuff, imagine. CEO and publisher of Washington Post, Will Lewis, just stepped down as they had to lay off a third of their workforce. Yeah, that's right. Turns out, yeah, lying and making up bullshit, not a great business model. Oh, okay. JD Vance stepping off Air Force 2 into Armenia. They're already there. Wow. Boy. Fancy. Old school uniforms. Like that. It's like old Soviet times. Ooh. Freaky. Trump nears 500 press interactions in second term, blowing past Biden. Really? But what did Biden tally up to over the same time period? We get that number? Okay, Trump averaged more than 2 media sessions per workday, compared to President Joe Biden's first year rate of 1.1 media events per day. That's bullshit. It was way less than that. Way less than that. I guarantee they're fudging the numbers somehow on that. What they count as an interaction by that. Trump officials accuse China of hiding nuclear tests as new arms deal loom. Yep. Ooh. Better look inside the Border Patrol vault. Evidence vault?
Nearly 200,000 pounds of narcotics seized.
Whoa.
This is the physical weight of a national threat. Since October 2025, more than 45,000 pounds have been taken off these streets.
They just keep all the drugs there?
Every package here represents a threat stop, a shipment that never reached a neighborhood.
So you guys don't like burn it or anything?
A dose that never reached a family. CBP officers and agents work on the front lines to protect you and the people you love. Border security.
I mean, I know they got to keep it around for evidence during the course of the trial, but after that,
is
what do they do with it then?
National security.
Steal it? Send it to the CIA? Yeah. Vice President greeted by Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan. Treasury Department will create Trump accounts first, and later families can move them to banks, credit unions, or investment firms.
To create a Trump account, you need to file a Form 4547 when you file your taxes. And starting this summer, you can also sign up at trumpaccounts.gov. The Treasury Department will create the accounts first, and later families can move them to banks, credit unions, or investment firms.
Do not turn down free money.
Good news for families with older kids, too. Billionaires Michael and Susan Dale are putting $6.25 billion towards Trump accounts, giving $250 to each eligible child under age 12. To qualify, families just need to live in a zip code with a median income of $150,000 or below.
Oh, I guess there's more of the llamas interview. Talk to the llamas guy. Hour.
Plan to deport people here who are here illegally, but he also understands why critics compare ICE officers to the Gestapo asking people for their papers. What's your response to him?
Well, look, first of all, he's a great guy. We had a tremendous success before the election. I think it was his biggest interview ever, and over 300 million.
Talking about, but damn near an hour. Maybe we'll come back and skip around that a little bit if we run out of. Trump set to speak at the NRCC's annual March fundraiser. Republicans last year raised $35 million. Yeah, they do this year. Big year, so. Oh. From the J6 Select Subcommittee. Breaking, new documents prove that Chris Wray's FBI predicted a January 6th type event could happen as early as September of 2020. Oh, they knew. They pushed for it. Wanted it. designed it, really. Okay, dance in Armenia real quick here.
Let me say first that the President sends his best to you personally, but also to the people of Armenia. The Prime Minister has been a great friend of ours and a real ally in peace and development in this region of the world. So we're very grateful for the friendship and for the partnership. I know there's a lot to discuss, a lot we're going to be announcing, I believe, at the next press event that we do. So I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. Let me just say this is a beautiful country. I feel incredibly grateful to be here. I'm thankful for the personal welcome, not just to me personally, but also to my family. This is, of course, one of the oldest Christian cultures in the entire world. And so I feel a great amount of affinity to the people of Armenia, but also to you and to your administration. I think that we really do have an opportunity, not just to create a historic peace that can last, as you said, one that could reach the point of no return. I believe that we are at the point where we can actually have Armenia serve as an important anchor for economic development in this region of the world, which will both persist and maintain the peace agreement, but also could lead to a lot of prosperity for the people of Armenia, and importantly to me, to the people of the United States.
Okay. Whoa. Wow. Discord to globally require a biometric face scan or ID verification for full access next month to protect safety. Yeah. God. Never fucking end. Democrat California Rep Ro Khanna on the Epstein investigation and former Prince Andrew wants Andrew to come before the Oversight Committee. Just stripping Andrew of a title is not enough. Liz Elkins says, here outside the Oversight Committee room where Ghislaine Maxwell is set to be virtually deposed. Significant member presence so far. James Comer, Andy Biggs, Bill Timmons for Republican side. Raja Krishnamurti, Melanie Stansbury, James Walkinshaw, Suhas Subramanian, and Ro Khanna. Oh, and Jasmine Crockett showed up too. Yeah.
Armenians and to our good friend, the Prime Minister. He's going to use that.
Oh, that's live. That's going on right now. Well, there we go. Ghislaine Maxwell invokes Fifth Amendment right in House Oversight probe. Fox News Digital is told. It begins. Where is it?
Anything you say, Bill? Go ahead, ask me a question. Did you? Bill? Sir, I have a secret document that I think you need to say.
Fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. Tulsi Gabbard's office warns whistleblower lawyer he can't brief lawmakers on mystery complaint. Oh, this is the complaint against her or whatever that tried to talk about. Wall Street Journal or whatever. Yeah. Well, that looked like the top of the pile there, and we're down to left. Todd Blanche responding to Eagle Ed. Truth, see it work, Ed. Let's go. Okay. Oh, let's go back to that live bit. Hold on. A few more. Comer confirms Ghislaine Maxwell pleaded the fifth. Says committee has 5 more depositions coming. Yep. Clinton's and then a handful of other important ones. Wexner. Was it? On Wednesday, the First Lady will celebrate Valentine's Day, Children's Inn, and NIH. Children, families, and NIH staff. EU Chief von der Leyen backs Made in Europe push for strategic sectors. Okay, yeah. Farmer says committee will release video of Maxwell deposition where she invokes the fifth. Not much to see there. But is set to attend Munich security conference amid frayed transatlantic. What else we can find real quick?
We're going to talk about how to secure your gun legally in your.
Oh, God. Okay, so they wrapped up the deposition less than an hour after they began, after she just invoked the fifth. Already over. Water is shooting up from the home of Nancy Guthrie. Oh yeah, weren't they digging like into the septic tank or whatever? Some shit like that?
Water is shooting up from the house of Nancy Guthrie, and the
were. I don't know why they'd be digging in the septic tank if she's been kidnapped.
Clearly, there is something happening over there. We don't know exactly the nature of it. What can you tell us from your vantage point?
Hi, Kevin. I can set the scene here for you. About an hour and a half ago, we had a sheriff's deputy come up, park in front of the home. That caught everyone's attention. Now, not too long ago, within the last 20 minutes or so, we saw an unmarked vehicle with law enforcement drive up. The two spoke, they got back in their cars, and then we saw yet a third member of law enforcement walk up. 3 people walked to the back, 2 to 3 people walked to the back, and you can see them now. And they are what our drone team is describing to us. The Fox flight team is describing this as possibly like a manhole. I heard Jonathan say that it could be some sort of water drainage. Either one of those is possible. We're not quite sure. But they've been poking around in there almost like they're looking for a sample of some sort.
A body.
Looking into this area. We've been kept back just a bit.
Wow. A senior Meta researcher alerted Facebook and Instagram execs that predators were targeting approximately 500,000 children per day with sexually inappropriate messages on Instagram and Facebook. And that's just in English-speaking markets alone. And warned that the actual scale was likely even greater. That's nuts. Okay. All right. Well, I don't see any.
Is going to preserve decisional space for himself, and that means not revealing too many of his cards publicly.
I have one more follow-up on the
Go ahead.
Iran negotiations.
Oh, taking questions.
Has the
Okay.
violent crackdown of protesters in Iran been part of those negotiations? Does the U.S. Want to push for any kind of human rights assurances to be part of a deal?
Well, I think as the president has said publicly, it's already very much been part of the negotiations that we've had. It's one of the things the president made a very strong demand is that there were prisoners who were going to be executed. The crackdown was, of course, very brutal and violent. And as the president, the entire administration has said, we stand with the people of Iran. We stand with the right of peaceful protest across the world, and certainly people who want to exercise that right in Iran. But absolutely, the president has made that part of the conversations that he's had, not just with the Iranians, but with people all across the region. I'm sure that will continue.
Եվ հաջորդ հարցը հայկական կողմից, and another question from Armenian side.
Thank you. Armen Press News Agency, Anna Kazarian. Mr. Prime Minister, you said in your statement after the document signed on August 8 up to now how much work has been done, and you also generally explained the areas in which we should have expectations in the future. Generally, could you please assess the current level of Armenia-US relations, the current progress of activities, and in the near future, what specifically should we expect? Well, I think this site underlines the level of current relations between Armenia and the US. Our current level of relations is higher than ever, but it's important, as we underscored with the Vice President, the great potential for further developing our relations. Indeed, we are at the highest point today. But the agenda that we referred to in our statements, just implementing that agenda would multiply the scope of our cooperation. And this is very important. We have established a strategic partnership, but it's important to note we are now able to demonstrate concrete manifestations of that strategic partnership, which are tangible, which are visible, and of course, my special appreciation goes to United States President Donald Trump for his personal engagement, but also a few times today, I have already thanked and thanked Vice President J.D. Vance for his personal engagement, because we know on February 7, 2025, the meeting at the White House and the very meaningful discussion and the conversation we had back then was pivotal for the subsequent events. And I expressed special gratitude to the Vice President, because during those days when we were having that meeting, how can I put this correctly? The White House was still transforming. I might even say the Vice President was probably hadn't moved in fully to that work environment. And I very highly appreciate that under those circumstances, he considered that to be an important conversation. So calmly, quietly, for quite a long time, and we thoroughly discussed the opportunities that and the agenda that could reach us to today's point. And it is worthy of particular appreciation in that environment. And when I got back to Yerevan, the impulses that the Vice President of the United States had given instructions appropriately, they had reached, these impulses had reached Yerevan before I reached Yerevan. And it is a sign of a particular manifestation of responsibility and professionalism, for which, of course, I express my words of appreciation and my token of respect to the Vice President. Thank you for the questions, Excellencies. Thank you for the responses.
Thank you, Your Excellencies.
Thank you.
That must be it.
Not everyone.
Mr. Vice President, to be clear on Iran, are military strikes still on the table?
I think one more in. 47% of Puerto Ricans are on welfare, in case anyone was wondering. %. Oh, there they are. Yep. 47 frickin' percent. Next highest. Continental. 20% New Mexico. Yeah. I think so. That's number 2. Yeah, I don't know how I got muted there. That's weird. All right. Well. Anyway, as I was saying, 47% of Puerto Ricans are in welfare, just in case you were wondering. Mexico comes in number 2 at 20%. Mm. What? Go to that Trump interview. Oh, what's this? Does a good interview. And Jan Jekielek, I think. Here's how one military officer discovered one of the deepest state secrets of the CC. 2001, Jim Jang's daughter disappeared in police custody. Spent 18 years searching for his missing daughter. Went to government agencies, police stations, labor camps. Was only met with evasion, cover-ups, and eventually death threats. Filmmaker Raymond Jang believes Yoon was likely one of countless victims of the CCP's secret state organ harvesting operation. Jeez, man.
And then we have her father, Jim Jang.
Professor Jim Jang, a victim's father, was a military officer who served the CCP for most of his life. Spending 18 years searching for his missing daughter, going to various government agencies, police stations, labor camps, only to face evasion, cover-ups, intimidation, and eventually the death threats.
There is no point in living. I have no way out.
During these 18 years, he went from fully trusting the CCP to recognizing its evil and lies. Along the way, they uncovered a most secret state crime and a grassroots movement that inspired the nation and then the world.
Okay.
About the election, given everything, given the Democrats already wargaming it, they thought this thing through, and they actually had plans specifically for January 6th, sir?
Yeah, we saw some of this earlier, right? I think must be talking about that bit. Saying they knew months in advance.
Yeah, they had a tabletop exercise that they ran in Boston in August of 2020, 5 months before January 6th occurred. The memos, which Kash Patel just turned over to Congress, he just found them recently, turned them over to Congress at the request of Chairman Barry Loudermilk, who's in charge of the J6 investigation now in the House, show that the FBI knew there was a strong possibility of a hanging election or a contested election, that both sides appeared to be agitated and could likely carry out that agitation to the point of violence. And they even devised very specific strategies. And one of them is to embed informants inside the groups where the most likely political violence or political agitation might occur. That is something that the FBI did. We had 24 informants on the ground on the morning of January 6th. The second thing they recommended was mass prosecutions, even for the most minor of crimes. Exactly what the FBI did after January 6th. Now, there are two big things about that strategy. It's pretty clear the strategy was hatched months before, and that's what they carried out. It's not the strategy they used for the political violence that BLM and the far left conducted all throughout the summer and fall of 2020. So a very clear double standard. The second thing is they did embed informants in a lot of groups, including left and right groups, Antifa and right-wing groups, and they got lots of intelligence suggesting a bad episode would occur. We now know from Chairman Barry Loudermilk that while those warnings were very strong from the informants, the preparations and the warnings from the FBI to their brethren in the Capitol in Washington, D.C. did not exist. They didn't pass on the warnings from the informants. So two failed examples of the Chris Wray era of the FBI. Knowing something was going to happen, implementing a strategy that hurt conservatives but not liberals, and not warning the people who could actually prevent the violence from occurring. That is the legacy of the Chris Wray FBI. It's what we now have out in open. These documents are now out there for everybody to see. Pretty stunning, though maybe not so stunning given what we've learned about the FBI.
Is there any part of this that shows that that Bill Barr and Chris Wray briefed the President of the United States, or briefed his staff, or briefed senior people at the White House after the tabletop exercise and after they came up with a plan of how to get informants? Is there any evidence at all that people that should have known about this were actually informed about it?
No, it doesn't look like the Attorney General knew, Bill Barr, or the brass, at least not as of now. There's no documentation showing that. There's no mention of it in the documents even suggesting that we alert the Attorney General or the Homeland Security Department or the Capitol Police or the Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police. So it looks like the insular sort of pillared FBI existed again. These are the same diseases that affected the FBI before 9/11, and you're starting to see the same thing. You plan for something, you don't create the scenario where that planning actually results in success. It results in failure, and the American people are the big loser. January 6th was a preventable attack, as was 9/11. We now know that from the 9/11 report. The parallels between the two are really, really remarkable. And I think the Chris Wray era, a lot of people talk about the James Comey era. There's plenty of reasons to talk about James Comey, but he was a much shorter-termed FBI director. Chris Wray was a much more consequential, longer FBI director, and perhaps caused more harm to the institution and to security in America and to law and order in America. He went after Catholics. He went after school parents.
Yeah.
He went after FBI agents if they were pro-Trump or pro-Second Amendment, and he had all the goods to prepare and stop a January 6th crisis, but instead failed to do so.
John, where do people...
Okay. Oh my God.
Sea Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay.
All right, let me jump to that Trump interview. We'll skip around that a little bit. Best. So. All right. Back to Tom Lamas. Tom Lamas and Donald Trump. Lamas, where are you? Lamas. Skip over it.
For your time. We really...
It's ever been, and a bad word, murder. We've had less murders than we have had in decades.
Yeah, one more question on the Super Bowl.
And you know why? Because we're tough on crime.
The Super Bowl is this sort of rare time in America, right, where we're all united. Right. It's a common experience. There's still divisions in this country, right? And Democrats will say it's all because of you, and then Republicans will say Democrats don't want to work with President Trump. They blame President Trump for everything. What's one thing you can do, really, to help Americans find common ground?
Well, we're working on the Save America Act, which is going to secure up a lot of things, but secure up our voting. I think people would like to do it, and I think Democrats would too. When you go to voter ID and you ask Democrats, it's polling at 82% with Democrats. I'm not talking about Democrat politicians. I'm talking about Democrats. We have to do something about our voting. We need strong borders. We need a fair press, which we don't have. And very importantly, we need the strong border, the fair press, and we need fair elections. We need elections where people aren't able to cheat. And we're going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get it done. And by the way, it polls, even with Democrats, they want that.
Okay, let's drill down.
So when did they air this thing? This was the Super Bowl interview. Okay, so this is like either pre or post Super Bowl.
Down into the news today, that big change on immigration, 700 officers leaving Minneapolis.
Skip forward a little bit.
2,000 people, more than 2,000 people out of Washington, D.C., and we now have a safe city.
As I mentioned, you've had success on immigration. Illegal border crossings are at historic lows, right?
It's so nice that you said that.
But if you look at
Tom, what you just said.
It's true.
No, but it's so nice. I hope you air it. It's so nice what you said, because That's called good reporting. That's called fair reporting. Now give me the second part.
Now let me give you the second part of the question. But if you look at the polls, most Americans say they don't like how you've handled immigration, right? Especially what's happened in Minneapolis. How do you change
Speak for yourself, bud.
their minds?
Well, I don't believe the polls, for one thing, because how can you not I saw a poll in the border where I'm at 55%, okay?
The polls show that Americans aren't against the deportations. It's the handling of immigration.
You know, polls, it depends on the way you ask the question. I saw a poll in the border, I'm at 55%. Well, how could I only be at 55% when everybody agrees that the border is totally beautiful?
And that poll was specifically, that wasn't just like deporting violent criminals. It was straight up like asking about all of them. And even that, 55%.
Closed, and nobody's coming in unless they come in legally, et cetera. It couldn't be better. I should be at 100%. I don't believe the polls. And some polls, I mean, I could show you polls where I'm polling at 69% popularity, and some polls where I have one at
we'll ask the White House to share that with us. Yeah.
71%. And then I have polls where I'm at 44% and 42%. The polls are almost dishonest, almost as dishonest as some of the reporters themselves.
Yeah.
But I'm getting very good polls. I'm getting very good polls on crime prevention, on law and order, and on the border. I have to. And I'm starting to get great polls on the economy, which I think is
the polls on the economy they're not great.
They should be great.
They should be. So why aren't they? If you believe that,
I don't know.
Good question. Okay,
I don't know. I mean, look, I've got
Americans tell us.
Go ahead.
We hear this. I mean, we're going to get into the economy later, but they tell us they don't feel it.
Just so you understand. Yeah. I have $18 trillion being invested into the country. Biden had less than $1 trillion for 4 years, and the whole country was going to credit.
When does America feel it?
Do you know that if they won that election, and we won in a landslide, do you know if they won that election, this country I think it was finished. I actually think it was finished. You would have had people, instead of 18 coming in, 18 trillion, you would have had $10 trillion leaving. I think our country, I think we would have been Venezuela on steroids.
I have a question about immigration still looking forward now. Your goal during the election was to deport everyone who came here illegally under President Biden. Is your mission now to deport everyone who came in illegally, or just people who have come in illegally who have also committed additional crimes?
We are totally focused on criminals, really bad criminals. Now, you could say people that came in illegally are criminals, but I'm talking about murderers from different countries. We have 11,888 murderers that Biden and his group led into our country. We've captured a lot of them. We've brought some of them back. A lot of them we don't want to bring back because we don't trust the country that they're not sent back again, despite how strong the borders are.
Yep.
3 months.
Skip around a little more.
You will agree, ever won all 7 swing states. Well, I don't want to get into this. We have 3 years to go. I don't want to, I have 2 people that are doing a great job. I don't want to have an argument with, I don't want to use the word fight. It wouldn't be a fight. But look, JD is fantastic and Marco is fantastic.
How are they
both
different?
doing a
How are they
great
different?
job. And I do think this. It's a great question. I think that's your most interesting question. I would say one is slightly more diplomatic than the other. I think they're both of very high intelligence. I mean, they will do shows. They will do Joe Rogan as opposed to the opponent not doing it because they couldn't handle it. They will be able to do whatever they have to do. I think there's a difference in style. You can see the style yourself, but they're both very capable. I do think the combination of JD and Marco would be very hard to be beaten, I think. But you never know in politics, right? They say, in the age of Trump, you never know.
You're thinking deeply about anything, about an issue? Is there one you look at?
Maybe all of them. They're so different. George Washington, and you have Jefferson, and I took Ronald Reagan in, gave me a place of honor also. Did a great job. But Honest Abe Lincoln.
Who do you have up here? I mean, these are big ones here.
That's Ulysses S. Grant, George Washington. Here we have the famous, come on over here. Here we have Declaration of Independence. That's one of the 3. This was in the vaults for many years, and I said, it's time to take get out of the vaults.
Do you think at one point people will talk about you when they talk about presidents like Washington and Lincoln? Is that something you think is going to happen?
All I know is this, it's such an honor, but all I know, I'm walking down. And everyone's screaming, goat, goat. I said, what are they talking about? I hope they're right. Not for me, but for the country. Because if I do a great job, that means the country is doing well.
You're building the new ballroom.
Wait, what was he screaming? What?
And everyone's screaming, goat, goat. I said, what are they talking about? I hope they're right. Not for me, but for the country. Because if I do a great job, that means the country is doing well.
You're building the new ballroom. We hear about this new arch you're building, the Garden of Heroes as well. You're building a lot of things that are going to cement your legacy. Are you also doing this so the country never forgets you?
No, I think we need glamour brought back to our country.
What a question.
We need prestige. We need beauty brought. I mean, in addition to everything else, we need strength. We need all of those things. Like I'm doing an arc, they call it a triumphal arc. 57 cities have arcs. Yeah. We're the only major important city. Washington, D.C. should have maybe the first arc. Yeah. We're doing one that will be more magnificent and larger than the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. I would say the Paris arc is probably the most
stunning.
It's incredible. We're going to do one.
It's incredible.
That's going to top it.
Is it true?
It is. It is really beautiful. I can't wait to see the DC one. That's going to be interesting, especially where they plan to put it. All right. Well, that does it for me. Sir Fedora is in, and I am out. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. Got some audio issues. I checked Rumble, PSV, and Anyway, YouTube also. They are at a lower volume than even Zoom is. Zoom sounds great. But
weird.
So there must be something in between Zoom and the channels that is bringing the volume down.
I will have to check that out.
Because I'm going from 38 to 54 just to try to get the same range of volume.
Gotcha. I will look into it.
So
cool. Well, I'll let you take the wheel. You have a good show, man.
Yep. Thank you. Have a great afternoon.
I sure will. Yeah. See you later. Bye, everyone.
Uh-huh.